Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. As you can see, we're doing another Valheim video. Because it's been a while since I did my last one. So the last one, I think I released maybe 3 months ago. And I never really got around to the second one. And I was thinking to myself, you know, I really wanted to do a guide on the Elder. I said I would. I just sitting here today and I said, right, I'm just going to do it. Hopefully it won't be too much longer until I can get bone mass out and potentially the future ones, but today we're going to be doing the Elder. This was more of a sudden thing. Like I meant to do this straight after I'd finished the Tier 1 about 3 months ago, but did not get around to it. Like I had it in my head, I had it planned, and I just completely forgot about it. So here we are, we're doing the Elder. So slightly harder than Tier this time. Tier was a pretty easy boss, get you kind of set into the game. You know, it wasn't that hard. I don't even think it was hard enough for me to warrant me doing a guide on it, but I did. The Elder is a bit more difficult, requires a bit more strategy. You need new armor, new weapons. There's tactics for it. So, that's what we're going to be going over in this video. Just kind of how to beat them, how to get set up. I will note that do note that everything in this video is from when you finish my last tutorial and beating Tier. So we'll go from the drops you get off Tier all the way to beating the Elder. And then hopefully the next video, Bone Mass, will go from beating the Elder until beating Bone Mass. So that's just the general layout of the videos I'm doing. So as of the time of recording, Valheim's first big update, Hearth and Home came out, which in that there was some slight changes. My old guide will no longer be completely up to date, because of a lot of the new stuff that they've changed a lot of stuff, reworked a lot of stuff, stamina, stuff like that. Food, mainly. Food was the big point of attention in the Hearth and Home update. So that has changed slightly, so I might put out maybe an updated version of the Tier guide. I don't know, but just know that this one, if you're ever playing on an older version, I don't even know if you can do that. But just note that this is for Hearth and Home. I'll be specifying items and foods that are only available in Hearth and Home. Now, I'm sure you can get the equivalent in previous versions. I just won't be doing it in this video. The older version is no longer playable as far as I can see. I can't really find another way to play the older versions. If so, I will release a tutorial on how to do that, because that would be really, really cool. Just notice in the future, or just know in the future with the future updates that come out for Valheim, that stuff may change again. I will have it in the title what version of the game it's for. So for this one, it's obviously Valheim Hearth and Home update. Hearth and Home update September 2021. So just know, make sure to check that whenever you're watching the videos. If you're watching the video right now and you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is a previous update, there's now the Mistlands out or whatever. Yeah, I highly doubt it's going to change much in Mistlands, but it has changed since the Hearth and Home update, and just wanted to put that out there. So we might as well get into the video, explain what's going on, how I'm doing this, stuff like that. So the way I'm going to be doing this is it's going to be broken up into different parts. So it's going to be broken up into gear, weapons, getting to the summoner, and food. It's just going to be broken up into 4 categories. And the last category is going to be me explaining the abilities. There's going to be video in the background of me fighting him and stuff like that, just to clear everything up and kind of round it all together, if you get me. So yeah, might as well get into it. Thank you for watching the video. See you in a minute. Alright everyone, let's actually get into how to be the Elder. Just a quick note, I'm recording this after the introduction, and I have come down with some sort of cold, so I don't sound like myself. Nothing I can do about it, I just wanted to get this video out, so just a quick heads up if you were wondering. So, I'm going to break this up into categories, 5 categories in total: gear, weapons, food, summoning, and then actually fighting the Elder. So I'm just gonna tell you all the items we need and then go in depth on how to get all the items. So for armor, we're going to be using the bronze set, so bronze helmet, bronze chestplate, and bronze leggings. For cape, we're going to be using the troll hide cape or the deer hide cape. Weapons, we're going to be using the fine wood bow, the bronze shield as your shield of choice, and as an optional weapon, the bronze axe. Ammo is going to be fire arrows. Fire arrows can be quite expensive, so I've added an alternative in here, which is flint arrows. The food we're going to be using is cooked boar meat, cooked deer meat, and blueberries. The stuff that is required to summon him is ancient seeds, which I'll explain later how to get and everything. So let's actually get into how to get the armor. So when Eikthyr, when you killed Eikthyr should have dropped antlers. You'll want to craft them into an antler pickaxe at a workbench. Next you want to head into the Black Forest. So the Black Forest, it's a very distinct kind of dark green kind of color. It's got a lot of carnivorous trees. When you walk into it for the first time, you'll get pop-up saying Black Forest or whatever, and it shows up in this kind of darker green tint on the map. It's not very hard to find, they're very, very common. So once you're in the Black Forest, you're looking for tin and copper. So when you get in, you want to search the beaches for tin and rivers sometimes. Tin is kind of a grey and black ore, grey with black spots ore. It spawns in very, very small chunks, kind of along the beaches and stuff. You won't need quite as much tin as you need copper, but you still will need some, so I recommend grabbing it. I have not worked out how much total tin or copper you need, but you know, just grab some. While you're out there, you also want to grab copper, which is found more inland in the Dark Forest. It spawns in massive, massive chunks. It's got like kind of bronze, shiny veins running through them. You'll want to mine up a good bit of that as well. You'll need more copper than there is tin. You need 1 tin and 2 copper to make a bronze, so you will need quite a lot of copper. About 2 veins, about 2 chunks of it should be good. You also probably want to make a cart with I guess bronze nails to actually like transport all this stuff. But yeah, you will need quite a lot of copper. You'll also want to keep a lookout for ancient crypts in the Black Forest. They're stone structures with kind of steps going down to them. There's usually skeletons outside, maybe not, because Grey Dwarves and skeletons quite often fight, so maybe the Grey Dwarves killed them off. But there sometimes is skeletons outside. You'll want to go down into the crypts, and you'll get a loading screen, and you'll be in this big room. 3 different passages are usually presented to you. You just need to kind of traverse the passages, and eventually in some of them you will come across circling cores. Circling cores are necessary to craft a furnace and a charcoal kiln. Charcoal kiln will produce coal for the furnace, and the furnace will be what will turn our copper ore and tin ore into copper bar and tin bars. While you're down there, so you'll want to grab a total of 10. You can grab 20 if you want 2 kilns and 2 furnaces, if you want to do it twice as fast, but really it's only necessary to have 1 kiln and 1 furnace. While you're down there, you'll also want to grab 4 extra circling cores for portals, which I'll explain later on. You'll need a total of 15 bronze, 6 deer hide to make a full set of bronze armor. So what you want to do is you want to go home and combine the circling cores with some stone to craft the kiln and the furnace. You'll want to smelt the your ores, bars. You're going to need total, and then craft 2 copper bars with 1 tin bar to get bronze bars. You do this at a forge. Forge requires 4 stone, 4 coal, 10 wood, and 6 copper to craft. And then once you have that, you'll be able to craft bronze. Like I said, you'll need 15 bronze, 6 deer hide to make a full set of bronze armor. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's kind of self-explanatory. Self-explanatory, needing furnaces and kilns and all that. Finally, for armor, you can pick yourself up a cape of either troll hide or deer hide. The deer hide cape being the safer and easier option to get over its troll hide counterpart, simply because they don't have any stat differences this early on. I think the only stat difference is durability, which really won't be an issue, because during the elder fight, you're not really meant to be getting hit. The troll hide cape you can go for. You're just going to have to kill trolls. If you are doing that, I highly recommend killing the trolls that don't have clubs, because the ones with clubs are considerably more dangerous. I would still recommend for everyone to go with the deer hide cape, because chances are you have deer hide lying around. Just from grabbing the cooked deer meat or getting the deer meat later on in the guide as well. There is no real need to upgrade your armor, I will say. Your armor is going to be replaced after you beat the Elder. The Elder is perfectly beatable with level 1 gear that you craft. You can, however, upgrade your deer hide or troll hide cape, which every single time you upgrade will just give you +1 defense. So if you want an extra 3 defense by upgrading to level 4, go for it. It's not a big deal, but it's not very costly on resources. So that is everything pretty much for armor. So moving on to weapons. Weapons, you can craft a fine wood bow from fine wood, which can be obtained from chopping down birch trees. So they are white trees with black spots in the meadows. You'll need a bronze axe to do this, and a bronze axe will require 4 wood, 8 bronze, and 2 leather scraps. So this could be handy anyway, because then you're going to have a bronze axe with you anyway, which you might as well bring along. As I said, it's optional, you don't need it for the fight. Chances are you won't really be using it. It's mainly just the bow during the fight, but at least you have it if in case you run out of arrows or something. At the bronze field, you can craft just 10 bronze and 4 wood. It's called a bronze buckler in the crafting UI. You craft most of this stuff, by the way. I think I said it before as well at the forge. Everything from now on that requires metal, you will be crafting at the forge. So moving on to arrows. So I said earlier that you had an option of fire arrows or flint arrows. Fire arrows are more expensive, but they are the most effective against the Elder. The fire arrows are 8 wood, 8 resin, and 2 feathers for 20 arrows. And I would recommend about 250 arrows, so that is quite costly when you think about it. If you don't have that, you could go with 120 fire arrows and then the rest flint arrows. Flint arrows can be crafted 8 wood, 2 flint, and 2 feathers. I would definitely recommend going with a mix of fire arrows and flint arrows for just being kind of less costly, and you'll still get the job done at the end of the day. Right, moving on to food. So food was kind of hard for me to figure out, because with the new Hearth and Home update, there's quite a lot of new foods and stuff. Like, when I did the fight, I knew what foods were good for it, but then when they changed the foods, I had no idea, so I had to do quite a bit of research into this. I don't know, might be better foods than this. I did leave out onions, which I think you can get at this stage of the game, simply because they are quite hard to get, and I don't think, even though they are the best thing that you can get, I don't think that it's necessary really at all. So the food that I picked was boar meat, which can be obtained by cooking meat dropped off boars, and the same goes for deer meat. And at the time of actually writing the script, I originally thought raspberries were the best, but then I realized after blueberries were, after my friend pointed out to me when he was reading the script. Yeah, blueberries are slightly harder to get. They spawn in bushes in the Dark Forest. Chances are you'll be getting a ton of them anyway while looking for copper, tin, and crypts. But if you don't, raspberries are a very, very, very good, what would you call it, kind of alternative. Yeah, there's very, very minimal difference in them, but you have that option if you want to. Then just for miscellaneous, crafting materials for 2 portals, like I said. You can craft 1 portal using 10 Grey Dwarf Eyes, 20 Fine Wood, and 2 Circling Cores. You'll just need to double that. So it'll be 20 Grey Dwarf Eyes, 40 Fine Wood, and 4 Circling Cores for 2 of them. You will need 2 portals to connect 2 areas together. Before you set off to find the spawner, you'll want to place down 1 portal in your main base. Or wherever you have your resources. And it's usually a good idea to name the portal where you placed it. So name it Base, Stronghold, Meadows Biome, whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as you can remember the name, because you'll need the name later when you're setting up the connection for the portal. So, moving on to actually how to summon the Elder. So, there are quite a few requirements to summon the Elder. Really, there's only one requirement to summon the Elder, but that requirement has a lot of other stuff that you need to do. So, the Ancient Seeds. You will need 3 Ancient Seeds, which are 100% drop chance from Grey Dwarf nests. I'll show what they look like on screen. They're not really that common, but they're not that rare either. Another option is that they will drop off Grey Dwarf Brutes. I've seen people do it where they will use the Grey Dwarf spawners and they won't destroy them. They will instead wait for Grey Dwarf Brutes to spawn from them and then kill the Grey Dwarf Brutes. I have seen that. You can be waiting quite a while though. Just if you get lucky or not. The only thing is Grey Dwarf Brutes can be kind of hard to kill at this point in the game. They're still quite tough. If you're in a group with friends, you will be fine. One thing I did not confirm when I was writing the script is I remember hearing that the Ancient Seeds can actually spawn in chests in the Dark Forest, like Annie in the towers, in the crypts, anywhere. I think they can. I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't go out of my way, but if you're checking chests in the crypts and all, if you find one, tell me in the comments because I don't actually know. Right, so the next requirement is the spawner. Obviously, like Tier, you need to have a spawner to summon the boss. So the spawner for the Elder is very similar to the Ike Tier spawner, except it can only be found in the Dark Forest biome. Simple. The spawner will never usually spawn on the same island that you spawned on. That is the only drawback, and you will usually need a boat to get there. The best boat right now that you can get is the Carve, which I'm pretty sure requires 30 fine wood, 10 deer hide, resin, and bronze nails. I'm not completely sure. I think it's something along the lines of that. You'll see it if you take out your hammer and you go to build the Carve. It'll tell you the resources. That is one thing that I probably should have written down what you need for it, but it's pretty simple if you can check it again. You can also make a raft, which is cheaper. I think that only requires leather scraps and some wood. Rafts are very, very slow. They're not safe. They have very little health. I do not recommend trusting all your valuables like your bronze gear and all in a raft. You're taking a risk, but it is cheaper and it will save you resources if you want to. It's always an option. But be careful, as there are creatures out in the ocean that would happily kill you if provoked. So that's why I'm suggesting take the Carve instead of the raft for the more HP. So to actually find the spawner, you must look for Elder Rune Stones inside crypts and other structures. It'll show up as a Vegasphere Stone. You can find them outside towers like I did in this clip that I'm showing on screen, or you can also find them in crypts. I know in my last playthrough I found them when I was playing with my friends. I found one in a crypt. You'll find a bunch of them. I found about 3, so either I got lucky or what, I don't really know. But they will, when you click on them, they will mark the location on your map for you. If you've been searching for quite a long time and just cannot find these stones, there is a website that can be helpful at locating the spawner. The website's called Valheim World Generator. I'll explain at the end of the video. I'll add a section at the end of the video where I'll explain how to use it and all. So if anyone's confused, they can, or if you think you know how to do it, go for it. I don't recommend doing it simply because you are kind of cheating in a way. It's not like an attachment, it doesn't add on to your game, it just boots up the seed and it just tells you where everything is in your world. I don't recommend it, but it's your world, you do what you want. So when you've actually arrived on the island, and you've found the spawner is usually surrounded by 4 massive pillars and a basin in the center. From my experience, it usually spawns along the coast. The one I got in the clip that I'm showing on screen there now was actually an exception to that. It's the first one I've ever gotten that wasn't near the coast, or wasn't in the view of the coast. So yeah. Things you should do when you get there. I strongly recommend setting up a camp with a campfire, bed, few chests, portal, all that. When you place down the portal, you want to name it the same name that you gave the other one back at your main base. If you've done it correctly, it should light up, allowing you to transport supplies and stuff like that. If it doesn't, you've obviously not got the right name in it, so just try out caps, with caps, all that. You're better off writing it down when you place down the first one. Note that metals cannot be transported through portals at any stage in the game. There's no portals in the game that can transport metals, and that's the same goes for copper ore, tin bar, copper bar, and bronze bar. None of them can be transported. There isn't really any need for defenses or barricades around the Elder Spawner, simply because the pillars are going to be our cover in the fight, and I'll get to how that works and everything. Before you take on the Elder, I'd strongly recommend clearing any trees or checking for any Grey Dwarf spawners. I know when I was doing this, there was actually a Grey Dwarf spawner right next to the spawner. And when I was recording me fighting the boss, even though I had gotten rid of the Grey Dwarf spawner, a troll actually came over in the middle of the fight and I had to reset and redo my recording. So just make sure there's no troll caves nearby. Troll caves are very similar to crypts, except they don't usually have stairs down to them. They're usually just like stone, kind of a massive stone arch in the side of a hill. If you go in there, there will usually be a troll in there. If not, then the troll is out wandering. The trolls usually return at night, so if you want to kill it then, it'll be done. I'm not completely sure. One of my friends had told me that they might respawn, simply because he's seen more than one troll at the same cave before. So even if you know that you've killed the troll at that cave, it would not harm checking right before you do the boss fight. So, sorry, actually getting into the boss fight now. So, to start the boss fight, you'll want to put the 3 ancient seeds in your hotbar. Then walk up to the basin in the center and press the number corresponding to what slot you have your seeds in. So, if you have the seeds in slot 5 in your hotbar, you'll press the 5 key on your keyboard. The particles will slowly start gravitating to a certain area around the basin. You'll see it, all the kind of yellow particles will start like going towards this area. That's where he will spawn. I recommend going up to this location and actually hitting him a few times with your axe, because this is an easy way to get some cheeky damage off because he can't attack for the first few seconds, as he spawns sitting on the ground and he has to stand up. He cannot attack you for this time, but be careful, because if you do stay too long, he'll do a stomp and you'll take damage. So moving on to the Elder's actual abilities. The Elder has 3 main abilities. I'll go over them in detail on how to avoid taking damage for them separately. So the first is his stomp ability, which I was explaining a bit earlier. He'll form this when you get too close to him, and it can do quite a lot of damage if you're not careful. I have been killed by it once. It does, for me, with bronze armor, did about 20-30 damage, which is quite a lot. because you don't really have a whole lot of health. You've got about 90 health, I think, when you've got all your food popped. I read online that you can actually, I never tested this in game, but you might actually be able to, if you parry right before he does his stomp. So parrying is just using your shield right before. It can actually negate most of the damage, or all of it. I saw that online, never tested it myself. I don't know if that works. It's probably best if you just don't go near him. His second ability is his roots that he'll spawn around you occasionally. As far as I'm aware, this doesn't really have like a set time that it happens. He just does it sometimes. It's completely luck based, whether he'll do it back to back or whatever. I couldn't really find a pattern that he did this in. He'll spawn a bunch of roots, usually about what seems like 10. The roots can be killed. They have quite low health. But if you do get too close to roots, they'll slam down the ground and will do damage to you. I've been killed twice by them, and my friend was killed once by them. I think the clip that's on screen right now is the one where he died to them. I'm not too sure. His last ability is his ranged attack, which is the deadliest of them all. This is where the pillars will come in, that I'm saying. So whenever he goes to perform his ranged attack, you want to hide behind the pillar. Ideally, you want to be hiding behind the pillar the entire time that you are fighting him, because he will use this attack repeatedly. Like, it is his main attack. He will use it a lot. Yeah, if you stand behind a pillar, pillars cannot take damage, but they will. It is a solid object, and his roots that he flies out cannot go through it. So if you were standing behind it, it is impossible for you to get hit. Yeah, as I said, the pillars can't be destroyed. If he does catch you out in the open and uses your ability, I recommend running horizontally left or right, like sprinting, and he will shoot the roots at you. Most of them won't hit you if you do it correctly, but that is the easiest way I found to kind of dodge his roots, or not his roots, his tendrils that he flies out when you get caught out in the open. As long as you stay behind the pillar and shoot flaming arrows, this fight should not be a problem. Like I said, the flaming arrows looks like the fire debuff, which is great at taking him down. I found this actually easier solo than in a group of people, simply because his health scales depending on how many people you have. So I found myself, even though that doesn't add up, I found myself needing more arrows when I'm doing it with other people. It felt that he was not doing as much damage, which is expected when you're in solo, so it was much easier. But when I was playing with 2 people and 3 people, and he hit you with his stomp or his tendrils, it would do quite a lot of damage. So all in all, this boss fight lasts about 4 to 5 minutes. It's the tactic that I'm using. It's the most effective way of beating him, but it's not necessarily fast. There is another way to beat him that is kind of a glitched method that I might do a separate video on some part. I'm not going to mention it in here, and if you do see the video up my channel, and if you want to watch it, you can, but I do not recommend it, simply because you're kind of losing the experience of beating him. But I'll probably upload it at some point for people that don't want to do the fight legitly and just want to get it done. On defeating him, once you have successfully taken down the Elder, you will receive the Swamp Key and his trophy, as well as some money, I think. The Swamp Key is necessary for progressing further into the game and beating the next boss, Bone Mass, which hopefully will be my next boss guide. Expect that maybe next week or so. Same day next week, I would say, that this video released on. I'm planning to release this on a Thursday. Yeah, Bone Mass will be the next one. I'll explain how the Swamp Key comes into play later on, in the next guide or whatever. You can bring the Elder Trophy and hang it on your wall in your house to show off to everyone how you've beaten the Elder. Or what I would recommend you do is put it on the standing stone at your world spawn location. Similar to what you did with Eikthyr, if you watched my previous guide. You would sacrifice the trophy and then whenever you return to the standing stones, you're able to pick up a new blessing, similar to Eiktyr's blessing, that gives you increased stamina. This one gives you increased chopping speed for 5 minutes, so it is extremely useful for base building, as you need quite a lot of wood and stuff like that. This was it. Out of all 5 of them, it does not sound as interesting or useful, but don't be fooled. I think that Elders is actually one of the most useful ones, because it really made gathering the wood that I needed for building bases and stuff like a breeze. I said that at the end of the video I would explain the Elder spawner easier and stuff like that, how to spawn the Elder and find the Elder spawner easier. So yeah, that's pretty much the guide on how to beat the Elder. Chances are, because I'm writing this script and I'm sick and I have a headache and stuff like that, chances are I've left something out. So if I've left something out, feel free to tell me in the comments. Let anyone else know. Is there any better food, better weapons? Mainly food. I'm not completely sure on the food. I think I have the best food you can get right now, excluding the onions, like I said. But I think I have everything right. But if I don't, put it down in the comments, so anyone that is watching the video and wants an easier time than what I've given them here in this, you know, just to help them out in case I'm forgetting something. So I would recommend to everyone, and if I ever find any updates or anything to make this guide easier, I will put it down in the comments. So I'm recommending anyone right now to check the comments to see is there anything down there that will make this easier. Other than that, as I said at the end of the video, I explained how to find the Elder spawner easier, so here it is. Alright everyone, so I explained early on that there was a website that you could use that would speed up the process of trying to find the Elder spawner location and like the landmark that you spawned at. I almost forgot about it, but I didn't, so is what you want to do. I'm just going to make this nice and quick and simple. So what you want to do is you want to go to your browser, search up Valheim World Generator. Click the first one. This could take a minute to load, depending on your hardware. So in the seed slot, you'll want to put your seed. So to find your seed of the world, you'll want to go into Valheim, press play, choose your character, and then on the page where it says all your world names and community server, start server, password, and all that, beside the world, you should have a random assortment of lowercase and highercase and numbers, about 8 digits or so. I can't quite remember. I'll be showing this on screen. It's obviously not on screen right now for me though. Yeah, you'll want to copy that and copy it into this section right here. Put it into your seed. Your world version won't really matter, because the Elder spawner locations have not really changed between versions as far as I'm aware. If they do in the future, you should be able to look up, if you know when you create your world, like what date you did create your world, you can look up online when these versions released and then work it out what version you are from there. Visible layer, full terrain. You can set lots of stuff here. I'm just going to be setting bosses, or you could set boss stones. Boss stones is what you will find, and then when you click on them, it will give you the location of not Eikthyr, Elder. But if you just want the location of Elder, you can just select bosses. And we will hit go, and it should load. Your browser may freeze, and this does not work on mobile. So you have to have a computer to do this. So here's my spawn. I left this space empty, so it will just randomly generate me a seed. So my spawn is right here. So I want to find the nearest Elder spawner. So the nearest Elder spawner for me seems to be on this island over here. So if I was to get to this island, I would use my landmarks and my terrain as my kind of guide. So I would use kind of maybe this dip here, maybe the mountains, to kind of work out where this island is. And if I see this, then I'll know that it's right here. Let's just say a few trees down, you know, kind of using or these trees will kind of be similar on the map. So kind of working it out that way seems to be the best way to work out where your Elder spawner is. And you can do this for anything: Leviathans, Maypoles, Beehive Shipwrecks. We'll be going over all of that in later guides. So yeah. And that's about it. So roll the outro.
Right, everyone, thank you for watching the video. So if there was anything wrong with the video, anything you would have done differently, please put it down in the comments. I will read them all, like them, whatever, comment on them. So yeah, one thing I did want to talk about in this outro was how I remember, because I'm recording this after I've recorded the whole other video that you've just watched. When I said that I hope to have the Valheim videos coming out weekly. Even though weekly is quite a lot of time, I still don't do YouTube full on. Because simply, I have a 15 subscribers. Nothing doesn't warrant doing it full on. I do enjoy this, but it can be quite draining. Like the last few days, I've been putting a lot into this video. And though I do enjoy it, sometimes I just want to get home, relax, chill, and not have to worry about getting videos out in time. So about that, it's not completely out of the water that there'll be a Valheim video next week. If it is, it likely won't be another boss guide, because these boss guides simply take up way too much of my time. But if there is, you know, it'll be out this day next week that this video comes out. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.